If you're cruising to Dublin, there's one thing that quietly catches people out more than almost any other British and Irish cruise port. You don't dock in the city. You tender into Dún Laoghaire, and that single detail changes how your entire day works. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 10 things you genuinely need to know about Dublin as a cruise port, so you can plan a day that feels enjoyable and unrushed, rather than constantly watching the clock. The most important thing to understand about Dublin on a cruise is that it's a full tender port. Your ship anchors offshore, and everyone going ashore uses tender boats to reach land. Tendering itself isn't difficult, but it changes the rhythm of the day. You're waiting for numbers to be called, boarding in batches, and priority usually goes to ship excursions first. What catches people out is that even if you're ready early, your actual start time can still drift later than planned. That's often where stress begins, especially if you've booked something with a fixed time later in the morning. This is also something to think carefully about if you have mobility issues. Tendering is more involved than a walk-off port, and you need to be comfortable with it before committing to a full day in the city. The key takeaway here is simple. Dublin is absolutely doable, but it's not friction-free, and planning with that in mind makes all the difference. Your tender brings you into Dún Laoghaire. On paper, it's only about 30 minutes away to Dublin, but on a cruise day, distance isn't the real issue. What matters is the time it takes to do everything. The tender, the walk to transport, waiting for transport, then the journey itself. None of those things are hard, but together, they quietly eat into your day faster than people expect. This is why some cruisers come back saying Dublin felt rushed, even though they didn't actually do very much. It's not the city that's the problem, it's the logistics around getting there and back. For most people, the DART train is the best way into the city. The station is about a 5-minute walk from the tender drop-off. It's clearly signposted, and the trains themselves are clean, safe, and straightforward to use. However, here's something that really matters. If you're visiting on a weekend, trains don't necessarily start running as early as people assume. I got off the ship early, but still had to wait for the first suitable train. That became important, because some people around me were already worried about missing time tickets later in the morning, particularly for the Guinness Storehouse. Before you sail, check the actual timetable for the day you're in port. That one small bit of prep removes a lot of unnecessary anxiety. A realistic planning rule for Dublin is to allow about 1 hour from leaving the ship to arriving in central Dublin. That includes the tender process, the walk to the station, waiting for the train, and the train journey itself. Some days it might be a little quicker, other days it won't be, especially if timings don't line up well. What matters is not trying to squeeze that hour down on paper. If you mentally lock it in from the start, everything else becomes calmer. You stop overstacking the morning, and you stop feeling behind before the day has even begun. And just as importantly, remember that same hour applies in reverse later on. If it's your first time in Dublin, a hop-on hop-off bus can be genuinely useful, especially for getting your bearings without overthinking routes. What adds real value on a cruise day is booking a combined ticket through platforms like Get Your Guide or Viator. These often include both the train from Dún Laoghaire and the bus. And when I did this, someone was waiting just outside the train station in Dún Laoghaire to hand over the bus and train ticket. And the pickup point for the hop-on, hop-off bus is just outside the train station in Dublin. That removes queues and decision-making at exactly the point in the day when things can start to feel rushed. Also, I'd advise not to stay on the bus all day. Do a loop for orientation, then get off and walk. Cross the River Liffey, explore Temple Bar on foot, wander around the university area near Trinity College, and then walk back towards the station rather than riding the full loop again. That way, you get structure without missing the feel of the city. Temple Bar is busy, touristy, and yes, a pint of Guinness costs noticeably more here than elsewhere in the city, but you still shouldn't skip it. There's live music throughout the day, not just in the evenings, and the atmosphere is exactly what many people imagine when they think of Dublin. My advice is to enjoy it for what it is. Pop into 1 or 2 pubs, soak up the music, Then wander the surrounding streets, where things feel a little more local and prices drop. Temple Bar doesn't need to take over your day, but it's absolutely worth experiencing. One of the biggest planning mistakes people make is trying to do both the Guinness Storehouse and the Book of Kells at Trinity College on the same day. Guinness takes longer than people expect if you want to enjoy it properly. And if you're doing the Guinness Storehouse, remember your ticket includes a free pint right at the end in the gravity bar. That's part of the experience, and it does take time, especially when it's busy, so don't book something immediately afterwards and feel rushed. The Book of Kells is a timed experience that often sells out well in advance. When you add transport time, queues, and walking, trying to do both turns the day into a checklist rather than an experience. My advice is to choose one. These are popular attractions, they're busy, and they're designed to be experienced slowly. If you rush them, you don't really enjoy either, and you come away feeling like the city itself passed you by. Choosing one isn't about missing out, it's about actually enjoying the time you have. You can then give yourself time to explore the surrounding area properly, whether that's Grafton Street, the river, or simply wandering the city centre. Dublin is not a city where you can rely on turning up and getting in, particularly during cruise season. Guinness, the Book of Kells, and other major attractions regularly sell out days or even weeks in advance. If there's one thing you really want to do, book it before you sail, and then plan the rest of the day around that fixed point. Everything else can be flexible. Dún Laoghaire itself is pleasant and easy to explore. The East Pier Walk, People's Park, cafes, and local shops make it a perfectly valid option if you want a lower stress day. If you've already been to Dublin, or you're happy to slow things down, staying local can be far more relaxing than rushing in and out of the city. The final thing you need to know is that getting back takes just as much planning as getting in. Walking back to the station, waiting for the train ride, and the tender back to the ship all add up. Build in a buffer. Aim to be back in Dún Laoghaire earlier than you think you need to be, especially later in the afternoon when tender queues can build quickly. Dublin is absolutely worth visiting on a cruise, but it's a port where realistic planning makes the difference between a great day and a stressful one. So now you know exactly how Dublin works as a cruise port, and why timing and logistics matter more here than people expect. But Dublin isn't the only British or Irish port where this catches cruisers out. The next video breaks down another port on this itinerary cove that works very differently, and knowing that in advance can completely change how your cruise feels. That's on screen now.